Okay. It's going on.
Did somebody steal my pen?
Welcome to the Park Recreation and Leisure Activities Committee. We'll call the meeting to order. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest?
See none?
None? Can we have approval of the agenda?
Yes?
Seconder?
Yeah.
Okay. Adoption of the minutes from March 1st, 2021.
Yes?
Mover and seconder?
I'll move it.
Okay. Seconder? Bobby? Any business arising from the minutes?
See none?
Seeing none. Reports. Further update on operations. Frank?
Yeah, so I just thought I'd give you a brief update on sort of where we're at right now. We're changing seasons, as you're all aware. We're
Yep.
actually getting out of our winter season and getting into our spring season. So all the, for example, in parks operations right now, they're getting all the equipment converted over that has to be up and going for our spring operations. Getting the vehicles inspected and trailers registered and all those kind of things. Parks is busy right now with just doing cleanup from the winter, any damage they see. We have a small staff on right now. Usually the third week in April or the last week in April is when we start hiring back our seasonal staff. So we'll be getting those back on. And then we go into, then everything starts to pick up. So if people are, questioning whatnot and wanting to get things done, just have them pass it along to us, but it will take some time until we get our staff back. With regards to parks, the swings, if you're getting asked about the swings, they'll be going up next week. So we just wait for the frost to be out and wait for, sort of threat of snow and make sure we have all the debris cleaned up around them. They start with our largest parks, Victoria Park, the downtown ones, and then they work their way out. So district parks as well are in that group. So swings will be going up. And then with regards to other aspects out there, then it's just getting, cleaning up around the trails and all that. So we'll be getting our, as we're aware in the budget, we were approved for 2 permanent staff. So we're going to be starting the process on filling those 2 positions. And then we'll be also looking to see what seasonal staff have to be, that are coming back, confirming those, and if there's any openings, addressing those, getting our casual staff hired as well. So that's sort of the park side. The arena side right now, Simmons Arena is closed for the season, and they're just doing some cleanup around that. They closed the end of March, and everything went smoothly with taking out the ice. The surface is quite interesting. It's got a few more little waves in it. So it's been, it's every year we're always...
The foundation, you mean?
Yeah, the floor.
Yeah.
The floor. So lights with that are the, and just working on around that rink, just getting things cleaned up. The Cody Banks is operating right now with our spring school. It is busy, and there's no ice really hardly available, kind of thing. So it's running smoothly to the end of the month. And then with regards to programs, I know that Chris right now, he's in the process of our spring programs are going and getting ready for our summer programs. Registrations are some going to be up online May 1st, am I right? 4th. May 4th. So we'll have our registrations online for programs, getting all the day camps in place. And then also confirming the casual staff that are going to be coming back and any new hires in that area. And then also getting ready for our pools, getting open. Being open. We are working this year on the tennis courts. We're working on doing an online registration system and an online scheduling system so that people can see who is actually on the courts and they can book online. I think we're working at that we do it the day in advance. Previously we used to we had a manual board down there, so we're actually trying to move things up. We weren't sure if we were able to do it, but Krister's been working on that, and we've been able to add more to our booking system, which allows us capacity to do that. We've also been working with the user groups and interest groups just in regards to trying to tighten things up and so there's better communication on the tennis courts.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes?
Question?
Yeah.
Frank, last year in your report, you said that once we close Simmons at the end of March, there's a little bit of a savings there, right? Would that be reflecting again this year?
Yeah, so within this budget, we saved there at Simmons, but the cost goes up a bit at Cody Banks.
Right,
Because
because
keep
you're
Cody
going
Banks
more and
open.
more, right.
Yeah, keep Cody Banks is replacing Simmons.
Right, okay.
And I'll just make a comment. Thanks for bringing that up, Frank. We have had some meetings with Tennis PEI, and I think this is probably a fairer way to have people book in the courts. It should save us some downtime in the courts, and in consultation with Tennis PEI, I'm glad our staff took a hold of this and did their due diligence, and it looks like it's going to be a program that's going to work. I think it's going to be better for everybody. With that, I think there was also some talk, Frank, I'm sure it's still in the plans. I think in Hillsborough Park and in Queen Elizabeth, we have a tennis court in each location.
Correct.
And we were going to paint them similar to what we paint the tennis courts down at Victoria Park.
I had no indication that we're going to paint the surface. The lines are already on the courts, so the asphalt surfaces.
Yeah.
To put that surface material on it, it's a cost, and it's not just a paint. It's an actual. I'm not 100% sure what the terminology is, Nancy, but it's
Like an acrylic.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
epoxy. So we'd have to look at that if that's the level we want to go. But there's 3 courts right now. That'd be the one at Queen Elizabeth Park, the one at Hillsborough, that's a tennis court, and then the one at Frank McCauley.
Frank Collins, yeah.
Right now they're asphalt courts with the lines painted on them, and really they're recreational use.
And they're perfect for rec.
So what's the difference between the ones at Victoria Park with the acrylic and the ones in the asphalt as far as play?
It's just a bit better surface, just slightly because of the painted surface, the reflection kind of thing. The surface doesn't get quite as warm. But that acrylic, that material, that paint on it is fairly high maintenance.
Very high.
So
Is
we're
it?
dealing with, a few things this year. So
Okay.
it's one of those things that it's always been sort of those elite courts, the sort of the higher end courts, and then our community courts are the asphalt surface.
So the lines that are on the other courts, are they pretty stable, or do they need to be redone in the recreation courts?
They should be good because they're all relatively new resurfaced courts. So we just make sure, Dean, when the time of the year comes, our staff puts up the nets and make sure those are all the
Okay.
sleeves are. We had Frank McCauley last year, one of the sleeves got broken. So we had ordered that, but it was coming from, I'm not sure where, there was a delay in it, so hopefully that's in now, we'll be getting that one up and going, so.
Part of, too, at Hillsborough, the last couple of years, we put the tennis nets up there, but before we had the Gordy Griffin
Complex.
complex that was there, the kids were taking down the tennis nets because they didn't want to play tennis, they wanted to play basketball.
Or ball hockey,
So,
yeah.
or ball hockey,
Yeah.
so they were taking those nets in and they left them inside. So I think this year will certainly be more tennis play there because they'll have the Gordy Griffin complex that they can play at, so.
Yeah, no, you're right, Chris.
And we're gonna try to encourage that, Councilor Bernard, as well, we're gonna try to encourage people to, if the courts in Victoria Park are busy, there are these recreational courts you can go to.
Yeah.
And they are relatively new surfaces, like they're all new surfaces, the only thing they don't have is the paint.
I apologize, Chair Bernard.
No, that's okay, that's okay. Yeah, go
Just
ahead.
on those courts, can't we also paint the pickle court in there too? I know that they're doing that in other facilities.
Yeah, we had that at one
Because
time.
it's getting,
We did have it at Frank McCauley. The difference with the pickleball courts
Yeah.
is the net's a different height.
yeah,
Partly is,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, it's a higher net, it's like more a Badminton net.
No, it's
No.
lower.
It's
It's
lower.
actually lower than the tennis. Like,
Oh.
they would prefer that the tennis nets be like this compared to just being flat. So
Yeah.
what they'll do is bring their own nets.
But is it difficult to paint the pickle court into the tennis court?
Just with regards to that, since that's the conflict that the tennis nets are off, because when the tennis nets are off, they don't come down very easily. You have to have a certain fuel to lower and whatnot. So we were looking at potentially the Gordy Griffin.
We're hoping to do it in the rink.
We would look at there because they bring their own nets.
Yeah.
We had looked at it out at East Royalty or the McCrae Drive one, and the surface was not level enough. It was fairly rough, so we look at that one and then potentially the new one we're building out in West Royalty.
I just bring it up because it's getting more and more popular as an
No,
indoor
but,
and outdoor sport.
and I told a number of seniors that were out there that play a lot of pickleball, and that's one of the things we've said when we built the facility, that it could be used for pickleball as long as ball hockey, roller hockey, a lot of other different
Yeah.
sports, so. And I think, if memory serves me right, there'll be room for 3 or 4 in the.
It would be very likely 3, I'll leave that to Chris, or maybe
Okay.
4. We'd have to figure out exactly the width and everything, and we were doing the painting on that this year, the Gordy Griffin one, that wasn't done last year, so we're
Yeah.
looking at that. So when we're doing that painting, we'll incorporate these lines
Right.
into that.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Now, could I just follow up, sir?
Yeah.
On the trails, now we got the inside laneway open. It's working well. I see more and more people are using it as an active transportation pathway. Frank, the connection between the Oban Arsenal parking lot and Terry Fox Drive, there's a boardwalk there that connects to the two. Did we build that or did the province build it?
We did one, the one that goes in front of the Lieutenant Governor's house.
Yes, I know that.
We did
The
that
province
one,
did that
our
one.
lot, and then the province did the other connection.
Right.
And they matched it with our.
With the wood.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the upgrade on, do we need, or maybe Nancy, do we need more upgrades for our Victoria Park boardwalk? Is it in good condition?
It's fairly
It's
fairly
good
new.
condition?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and knock on wood, we had no
Yeah.
high water levels or any kind of storm surges, so.
And I think you were on, when Councillor Twill was here, I was asking if we could ever look at a boardwalk from Brighton Road to Terry Fox Run that would go through that field. You know what I'm talking about, where there's the worn path?
The Warren Path, we're waiting to see what the province indicates on with regards to the home property.
When you come off Brighton Road.
Yeah.
That's a widely used area, especially, you know, we're encouraging people to walk. So this is an opportunity to make it happen.
And it wouldn't necessarily be a boardwalk, we'd look.
Yeah,
at
I think
another
you just do
hard
a
surface.
gravel trail.
Yeah, it could be or.
Gravel or asphalt pathway too.
Whatever, yep.
Anyways, thanks.
Any other questions?
No?
Welcome aboard,
Yeah, I
Counselor.
apologize.
No,
I
it's okay.
was running late in the
Yeah.
meeting and,
Yeah,
yeah.
we all run into that. Glad you're here. Okay, verbal update on our capital projects.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail on it, just that everyone knows that it has passed. We passed there in March 8th or 10th range. So we do have a fairly large capital budget list, as you're quite aware of. And where Nancy and myself and Mike and Christopher and Dean have already sort of discussed it, and we're sort of moving things forward. We're right now a lot of RFPs and getting organizing and planning in place. Just a couple that I'll just mention is with regards to our playground RFP. It is currently posted, so it's out right now. So I think that closes within the next week or so, and then Nancy and then we'll review and we'll be bringing in resolution council on Monday. The Rice Creek Bridge renewal project right now, I'm working on the tender document for that with the engineers. So that hopefully will be out within the next couple weeks as well. And then just other ones, those are probably two that are moving along. There's none of the other ones, like a lot of the other projects. Nancy has been doing some preliminary work and working on RFPs or requests for quotes or, you know, just making clarifications, so.
Okay.
If there's any questions on any particular project, feel free to ask.
What about the self-contained washroom down at the Federation Landing?
We're working on that with Coles.
Oh.
And we just got information today that City of Moncton just went through the procurement process. And there was only one firm in Canada that bid on it, and they chose not to go with any European suppliers just because of the
Difference of toilets.
just the cost and also the whole concern about maintenance. So Frank and I have been discussing it, and we're gonna look into that further. And yeah, so it's within our budget. Also, the Great Trails is looking forward to being a partner with us on that project, and they said that to speed things along, we'll just have the connection between Joe Giz Park and Confederation Landing on the city
City
roads
right
and
ways.
sidewalks, so we don't have to worry about getting MOUs with anybody further along. If you want to go through the Charlestown Harbor Authority or Maritime Electric property, we can get MOUs, but in the interim, we can go on city sidewalks and roads and
So just anyone that didn't realize, as part of the Confederation Trail wanted to fund this, they wanted us to show that there
Oh,
was
yeah,
connection to Confederation Landing, which there used to be when the tracks used to go
Yeah.
there. So Nancy's been working on that to just get something in place so that, and hopefully they will come good for a large, possibly a third of the funding.
Right,
So that's still a possibility then.
yes.
Yeah.
Good. And if memory serves me right, I think there is 27 capital projects, correct? That were approved this year?
It's a large list and some large dollar amounts on some of them, I know that. I know when we had our, just Nancy and I and Dean and our staff meeting, we were discussing, it is a lot of projects, but we're trying to get as many out and going as soon as possible. trying to
No,
get it
I
there.
just want to put that out there. There's a lot on our plate in front of us, and so some people have to be patient. We have a lot of work to do, and there's only so much time to do it. So appreciate that.
And Mr. Chair.
But I know we're moving on a lot of them now.
We're starting the preliminary.
Yeah, so that's good.
And Mr. Chair, we're moving on the big one too, the Simmons Aqua Arena facility.
That one, we're in the RFP process right now and going through that process. So hopefully we'll be, in the near future of that, working on that.
Okay.
And going into the public in the future.
Thank
So
you.
the RFP and that's closed, right?
The design and consulting services portion of it, yes.
And so when does that come to council?
Our review committee right now are in the process of reviewing those proposals. We'll be meeting early next week and then put forward a recommendation that I hope can be brought to council sooner rather than later.
Special meeting?
I won't say that.
Oh,
I'll say
okay.
that.
Special meeting.
That's up to the mayor.
Oh,
All
you
right.
should phone that guy.
Any other questions? Nope, it's asking for anybody.
No.
Everybody's good? Okay. Going to ask for a motion to move into closed session to deal with some financial issues. So if I could have a motion to move into closed session?
Yeah,
Seconder?
I'll get the door.
Sure.
Okay, moved by Kevin, second by Bob.
I'll get the door.
All in favor?
You just stay right where you're at, buddy.
Aye.